Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Smashed Popcorn. I said smashed. With the Jocks of All Trades podcast. Welcome our guests, Tim and Carter. Tim has been here before. I think the last thing Tim came on for was National Treasure.
Oh yeah, for this show, yeah.
Yeah.
Last time I was on the podcast was the NFL draft night.
That's right. You were there for that. Carter is our newbie. Carter has not been with us before. But
I've not. It is an honor to join you.
Yes, thank you. It's time that we finally reviewed some more modern films. Everything that we've reviewed is like 20 plus years old. With that being said, we are going to dive straight into 2022's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to pull it for a minute because this is a mouthful, and I feel like we could have shortened the title of this film, but that's okay. That's all right. What can we say without being spoilery here is where I'm kind of at.
Honestly, I think the movie came out long enough that if there are spoilers in this, then
it's tough. It's always a 2-week rule. I think we're good.
Fair enough. All right. Let's dive right into casting. Yeah, this kind of felt like a home run. I'm just going to talk about like the main people first. I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez. I had to think about how to pronounce that for a minute. Benedict Wong playing Wong. I thought that was really ironic. Every time I remember his name, I'm like, yeah, he plays Wong. And no, that's his name. Rachel McAdams comes back as Christine Palmer. That one was kind of a stretch. Like, unless you really are a fan of the first Doctor Strange film, like, you might have been lost in the sauce with that one a little bit. It's not like she's been a very prominent piece of the MCU.
Yeah. Originally, she wasn't even going to come back as Christine Palmer. She wasn't going to reprise her role.
Really awkward.
Yeah.
Especially with how critical she is in this entire film.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if they would have tried to do some rewrites around her character or recast it. Because, I mean, obviously there are rewrites that came with this movie. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Marvel nerd. I have seen every MCU movie on opening night except for 2 movies. The first Iron Man and then Spider-Man Homecoming are the 2 I didn't see opening night. It's interesting because there were a lot of rewrites that actually had to happen with this movie because originally it was supposed to come out. It was slated to release before Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
And so they had to obviously do some rewrites. So I wonder if they would have done if she didn't want to reprise her role. I wonder if they would have done rewrites for that, or if they just would have said screw it and pull a Don Cheadle and recast her in the role.
I think with as pivotal as her part was in this movie, even though, I mean, they did a lot of rewrites, they could have done it, but I think as just a character progression for Doctor Strange, I think they probably would have recast her. So I think that character is pretty critical here.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, Brad.
No, that was good. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about the rest of the casting, and I think that's going to open the floodgates. If you're listening past this point, spoilers ahoy, you have your warning. There it is. The Illuminati is appearing in this film. I feel like most MCU fans and Marvel fans, that wasn't a big shocker. Who was in the Illuminati, I think, was more of a shocker than knowing that the Illuminati was going to be there. So let's talk about that. We had Baron Mordo, Captain Carter, Black Bolt. I wrote Captain Carter twice. Nice job. Captain Marvel, Reed Richards, also Mr. Fantastic, and Professor Charles Xavier. There was a lot of cheering in the theater that I attended for this when that whole scene happened.
I think I was probably the loudest one in my theater when that
yeah.
when that happened. I was like the only thing that I was more excited for in the MCU is when Cap picked up Mjolnir in Endgame.
Yeah.
Like I was going insane when that happened. But yeah, no, there was a lot of cheering, especially when it was revealed that John Krasinski was cast as Mr. Fantastic, because that's been like the fan casting online for the last 3-4 years.
Yep.
So I think largely that was in there for fan service, but like I'm here for it. I'm not upset by that at all. I think having Patrick Stewart come back as Professor X was an interesting decision. For a couple of reasons. I'm curious to see how much longer he's going to reprise that role, and when he'll ultimately hand it off to somebody else the way Hugh Jackman has with Wolverine. And I've heard a lot of theories, and I love this theory is that the Professor Xavier we saw in Multiverse of Madness was actually the same Professor Xavier from the 90s X-Men theme, or like the X-Men TV show. Because I mean, even when he entered in, they played the 90s X-Men theme under it. The and I was like, I almost passed out. No, I didn't almost pass out, but I was super excited. But yeah, I'm really curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on how long you think Patrick Stewart is going to reprise this role.
I'm very divided with this because this movie kind of goofed up what the Loki TV show set up. Because if you notice in Loki, not every variant was played by Tom Hiddleston. There were some very different variants of Loki. However, we step into the multiverse of madness, and every Strange we see is strange. Every Mordo we see is more. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, okay, like, did you just fall into the right dimensions? Did you know what I mean? Like, why show that Loki and then abandon that for this? So either they are going to keep Patrick Stewart, which y'all gonna have to do some de-aging or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna use what's his name?
50 years.
Huh?
50 years.
Yeah.
Crap. Why
I can't think of the younger guy. I'm thinking like Days of Future Past and First Class.
James McElroy.
Yes, thank you. Oh, they could do that. They could do that variant and bring that like team into 616 timeline. Oh, by the way, what a lovely drop that the MCU is 616. Fantastic. I love that. I'm like, okay, we're in the main universe of Marvel. Fantastic. Thank you.
Which was interesting because up until this point, it had been referred to as Universe 1999999 because it was 1999 plus like 3 or 4 nines, because 1999 was the first superhero Marvel film Kevin Feige worked on, which was the original X-Men movies.
Yep.
It had never officially been referred to as that, but it had been, I think Kevin Feige, or no, I don't think ever even Kevin Feige. I think just online they had kind of referred to it as that, as 616, or not 616 yet. But I'm super excited that 616 is now the official MCU.
Yes.
I'm curious to see if I'm as big of a Marvel fan as I am. I haven't really kept up with the current run of comics, so I'm curious to see if what we're seeing in the MCU will affect what you see in the comics, in the 616 universe in the comics. Or if they'll abandon the 616 in the comics and go into like 838 or whatever number universe.
I always thought that the MCU was very similar to the Ultimate comic storylines. You guys remember that from like the early 2000s? That was super edgy and very
Yeah.
different. I always thought they were setting that up. But now that we're getting 616, okay, so you're kind of blending the Ultimate universe and like the Golden Age and just kind of throwing them together, which I mean that's fine. But it presents a lot of questions. I guess this is where I am right now. If you haven't seen the Thor trailer yet, I will post it, and so you can watch it with us and know what we're talking about. I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit here. Gore the God Butcher, from the 2012 run for Thor, super awesome villain. If you guys don't know it, go and read the comics. Probably one of the most deadly villains written into Marvel comics. And just like he's a villain out of spite, and I love that. Like he just doesn't need a reason. Like, oh, I just really hate no, he's spiteful, and I love that. His sword is made of like symbiote. It's called All Black Necro Sword. There's lots of tie-ins just from the comics. So let's jump to Bale and what they're going to do there. So because we're in 616 like ish, kind of with what the MCU is doing, how much of that is going to transfer over? Because realizing now that they blew open the floodgates with Multiverse of Madness, they could do 1,000 things with Gore the God Butcher and open up floodgates, because they could do the symbiote storyline, they could do Null, they could do the symbiote homeworld, they could open Venom into the MCU. Like there's so many things, and I really appreciated that Gore is the villain.
They already planted the Venom seeds in the post credits for No Way Home.
They did.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't, going by what we've seen in the trailer so far, I don't think they're going to make All Black a symbiote sword, because seeing what we see in the comic, or in the, not the comics, but the trailer, is it looks like just kind of a broadsword, like a normal broadsword, right? Kind of like what we saw in the post credits for Eternals with Dane Whitman's sword. And where like the blade kind of reacted to him getting close to it, to where you saw like sort of it shifting, but it still held its solid form. So I wonder if it's going to be something like that and less of like a symbiote, because I feel like they're going to hold off on introducing symbiotes hardcore until we get another Spider-Man movie where he's going to interact with Venom. And I really hope that they change how Venom interacts with its host, from what they've been doing in the Venom movies. Because like the whole disembodied voice is just like it works ish for the Venom movies, but I don't foresee that working very well in the MCU. Honestly,
well, I mean, they basically did that with Moon Knight.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. It just feels a little different because it's like an entirely different character and it's a different person voicing it, as opposed to in Venom, it's literally Tom Hardy's voice just distorted.
That's true.
Like, and I think that's kind of like, I even remember watching Moon Knight, like the first episode, and I was watching it with my roommate, and he's like, "Why does this feel like Venom right now?"
Yeah,
like with like the disembodied voice. Now, I feel like in Moon Knight they kind of handled it better, and it got a little easier, and they incorporated it a little bit better, to where, because this character actually has DID. And not just like this alien voice in his head, you know.
Yeah, you saw Khonshu as help.
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see, like, I'm extremely curious to see where it's going. I love the fact that they're not doing it all of so far. What we've seen of Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher has been all practical and not CGI. I think they're kind of going to be leaning on Christian Bale's acting chops for that. Yeah, which, like, I'm excited for. I feel like, yeah, I feel like recently, especially the MCU has really been leaning on CGI a lot for things that just aren't needed. Like in the first few episodes of Moon Knight, I don't know if you guys caught it, like Moon Knight's costume and armor was completely CGI.
Yeah.
It wasn't practical until like the final 2 episodes of the season. And I was just like, man, I wish like that would be such an easy thing to do practical. Like obviously the transformation would have to be CGI, but like having a guy there in a suit, it adds something to it, you know? And I think I'm excited for how the MCU is seemingly with Christian Bale going more the practical route and less of the CGI route. I'll shut up now.
No, you're fine. That's good.
And also with Kang being sort of the next big up and coming bad, I mean, he's not a giant purple CGI.
Yeah.
He's just a guy.
Yeah. How dare Josh Brolin not grow a purple chin with multiple butts?
Right?
How dare they have to CGI that?
Think of the fans. Do it for the fans, Josh Brolin.
Method acting, man. Come on.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
So Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we could talk Marvel the whole episode. Sorry, I derailed us from Doctor Strange. But it was good. We needed to talk about it anyways. I wore my shirt to celebrate the new trailer anyways. That I've been sitting on in my closet and been like, when is a good time to wear a Thor shirt? It's all the time, but you know, it needs to be like shown and not just like, oh, I just wore it around the house. Anyway, I loved what was your take on Wanda being the bad guy? Lots of people hated it, and then on the other side, lots of people loved it. What do you guys think? Where do you fall on the Wanda scale?
I mean,
I'll let you take it first, Tim, because I've been talking a lot.
I wasn't surprised by it, and I was cool with it. I mean, that when it was first announced that this movie was going to be Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, the first thought in big fan theory that went around was Wanda's going to be the villain of this.
Yep.
And they didn't really they did a pretty good job of not teasing that too much in the trailers, but I mean, just looking at like the cast announcements and everything, I was like, that just made sense to me. And you know, I felt that the progression from the end of WandaVision to where she was in Multiverse of Madness, it seemed like a little bit bigger of a leap than it should have been in that period of time, but I think the progression made sense.
Yeah. What about you, Carter?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved that Wanda was the villain. Because I felt like she was a different kind of villain. I didn't feel like, you know, in up until this point with Thanos, we had like this guy on a righteous crusade, right, to purge the world so that or purge the universe so that everything can survive longer, right? We've had Kang the Conqueror and Loki that was kind of like behind the scenes, kind of controlling things. Whereas like Wanda was literally a mom, like trying to get her kids back, right? Like doing anything she could to get to that. I think they did a really good job of like humanizing her as the villain, like making her seem relatable to where like actually, yeah, I understand why she would go down this path to be the villain of this movie. And I one of the fun facts I stumbled across online was there was 2 weeks between the ending of her filming WandaVision and her starting filming for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So she literally flew almost from wherever she was filming WandaVision directly to London for Multiverse of Madness. And she, from what I read, is she worked really hard to have the actions and what happened in WandaVision to influence her actions in Multiverse of Madness as opposed to the other way around, right? Because canonically, WandaVision came first.
Yeah.
And so she was working really hard to work towards WandaVision affecting her character choices for Multiverse of Madness, and I felt like she did a great job of that. Like the line of what was it? You break the rules and you're considered a hero. I do it and I'm considered the bad guy. That doesn't seem fair. Like I was like, dude, yeah, like that's straight up her character arc through WandaVision, where like she broke all these rules, right? And was considered the villain. But when and like the Doctor Strange and even through the Infinity Saga, like Doctor Strange broke all these rules and he was still regarded as a hero.
Yep.
So
with the biggest being giving up the time stone. Like that was the biggest no-no. And he's just like, oh, here you go,
right?
Thanos.
Yeah. So I was like, I felt like that was the most telling line of her character development throughout the entire movie.
And I like, having, like you were talking about how she was trying to have her WandaVision experience influence her Doctor Strange performance. I think you can get brought along on that as the audience too, because, we all watched WandaVision, everyone obsessed over that. You kind of see her going through this and there's some eventually there's some kind of messed up things going on with her, but with like what she's doing, but you're kind of on her side and sympathize with her. So, she starts to be presented as the villain, but you still have all these, having watched through WandaVision, you're kind of on her side during this too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's kind of like where I landed in the whole like how I felt about Wanda being the villain in this. I thought it was incredibly justified and really well written based off of her whole character arc, from even like starting back in like Age of Ultron when Crossbones used the suicide bomb to try and blow up Cap, but she launched him up in the air and blew up that building, right? Like I feel like that was such I know Age of Ultron has its issues that everybody picks on, which like arguably it is one of the worst films in the MCU, but I think it had so many pivotal key points for character development like that, where that started Wanda down like, well, I was trying to do the right thing. If literally anybody else had done this, they would still be regarded as a hero, but now people are afraid of me.
Yeah.
And I
show
go ahead.
People close to her and not even think about the consequences of it.
Yeah. Like I loved seeing the subtle callbacks to that, where that was where the seed was planted, and it grew to what we have in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. I think her being the villain, not out of a need to be right, not out of a need to just exact revenge, just tragedy.
Yeah.
Just tragedy, just family. And I think grief is the name of the game, and we got plenty of that with WandaVision. and it set it
Yeah.
up perfectly. So I don't understand the hate because I'm like, it made sense. It wasn't like we just shoehorned her in to be the villain just cause.
Right.
Like she had the Darkhold at the end of WandaVision. The Darkhold isn't like a book of fairy tales and unicorns and rainbows. Like that's not what it is. It's literally like Hell's book of the worst spells ever.
And they really
we all thought she'll be fine. No.
Yeah, they really show in this movie too, like the effects that has on somebody. You know, just looking through the book and using it. So you kind of learn like, yeah, this thing had a hold of Wanda.
Yeah,
yeah.
I have to admit, and you guys can argue with me on this. The best part of this film, thematically, story wise, cinematography, visual effects, was Wanda. Like I can't. As cool as Doctor Strange is, Doctor Strange was kind of like the backseat character in this. It was really Wanda versus the world. Was what we got, and I loved it. I just like Sam Raimi. I can't not like Sam Raimi. I don't know why, but the horror elements when she like got out of the trap that they placed for her in Camertage and went through the mirrors and like started showing the reflections. Like the stress that you have, you just see Wanda's eye and you're like, gross.
Dude, like that that got me. Dude, that jump scare, that got me.
Yeah. Her coming out of the gong and like twisting, I'm like, okay.
That was wild.
Got it.
Yeah.
Kyle.
It was hard to pick a favorite Wanda moment because they were all just so visceral. One of my favorites was like she was probing to get into Camertage, and you just see her talking to this guy, and then he just breaks. And I'm like, ugh. And it's very evocative. Like you said, Age of Ultron, we've seen it, where she just whispers in people's ears and messes with them. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you had this right, and I had to just like piggyback on it. This was never not the plan for Wanda. This was always the plan for Wanda.
Brad, to that point of her getting behind people and doing the thing, this movie raised another interesting question in that it introduced the idea that dreams are sort of a view into other realities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like prior Marvel movies. So Age of Ultron, when she gave everybody those visions, were they actually dreaming of like an alternate reality somewhere?
Yeah. I wondered about that. And Tony's comments in is it Infinity War or Endgame? I think it's Infinity War.
Yeah, it is Infinity War.
He said, hey, I had a dream and we had a baby and we named him after your strange uncle. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's all callbacks, dude. I would have to say probably my favorite Wanda version Wanda moment was when she was in the Illuminati headquarters. Like, dude, like I think they framed it so well, especially in the previews, to make it seem like, I don't know if you guys watched What If, but make it seem like zombie Wanda from What If. Yeah. Like the glowing red eyes. Holy crap. When they like dropped the blast door and like the drips of water were like slowing down, and then she just popped around the corner and her eyes were glowing, and it was just like the silhouette of her. I was almost like, I'm done. I'm done. That's enough. Like
she'd been tearing apart those like Ultron sentries, so she had the oil all splattered.
I loved that.
Yeah, dude, I was like, literally when they were standing there at the blast door, like watching it, I was like, move, go, run, go. Get to the book. And like I think that's the beauty of Sam Raimi taking his expertise from horror films and like putting it into the MCU. Like, because this is the first MCU movie we've had that has been labeled as a horror movie. Everything else is like superhero comedy, sci-fi, whatever. This one literally like is the first one to have the horror tag on it.
So I have two comments with that then.
Okay,
The first one is, how cathartic is it for Wanda to destroy all those drones that look like Ultron? I noticed that. that to get through to everybody else, she had to get rid of the guy that basically ruined her life.
Yeah,
I'm like,
started
okay, cool.
it all.
Secondly, I love what you're saying about Sam Raimi. So I'm going to go ahead and take it a step further.
Okay.
This film would have blown had Sam Raimi not come in and did what he did to this film.
Yeah,
100% agree.
Yep.
Yeah,
hard agree. Yes,
I feel like he's the only one that could have pulled this off as well as it was pulled off.
absolutely. Yeah.
Can we talk about incursions too? How cool is that?
Yeah,
So,
dude.
that opens a floodgate. I don't know why that's my word today. To so many different things that they can do. So one of the things is people have been positing, how do we get X-Men? And I saw this fan theory on Reddit, and I love it. Is the X-Men could come from a dimension that had an incursion because of something the Avengers did. I'm like, oh, and it sets up Avengers versus X-Men. I'm like, yes, please.
Dude, so speaking of incursions in the comics, with one of the incursions that happens, Black Panther looks up and sees another Earth in the sky that's glowing red.
Yep.
In the universe where Strange battles himself, like when they fight with all the music and everything, which was like an amazing fight sequence. I loved that. That was incredible. When he started walking up the stairs, you see this glowing red like planet in the background, and it's like, I wonder if those were the two worlds that 838 Strange made the incursion happen in from dreamwalking. Yeah, so like I think that was a real subtle nod to the comics that not a lot of people caught. And I didn't even catch it until I watched some theory videos and like breakdown videos. And it was fascinating. What'd you say?
Watching the new Rockstars?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Frame by frame breakdowns.
I have to admit, the other thing that was cool with Dreamwalking, other than like watching Wanda like take over other Wandas, which was creepy. One of the most evocative things to me was all the weird like reality bending stuff that was going around, like the cup of tea that turned into like an ocean of waves of like, whoa, like you can tell she just warps reality every time she does this. And I'm like, are her actions here going to come back later as more incursions? Also, in addition to that, what's going to happen to the Wanda of this universe? You just literally butchered a whole nother universe's like superhero squad, and then just kind of got left in the middle of the universe after she left and like, see ya.
And
so
knew that, there was another Wanda dreamwalking in that Wanda are now dead. So everybody else who witnessed it is just going to assume it's their Wanda.
Yeah. That's well, no, because Christine Palmer is still alive in that universe.
Yeah.
So will we ever go back to 838 in the MCU?
I doubt it.
Doubtful. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with America Chavez and with her powers and abilities. One thing that I wasn't super crazy, I don't know if you're wanting to move on to things that we weren't
go for
crazy about. So one thing that I wasn't crazy about is how at the end of the movie they showed America Chavez trying to learn sorcery. I felt like that was misplaced and like
justice for Ned.
That, but like uncalled for, because she already has all these powers that she doesn't know how to control. So you're gonna add more powers that she doesn't know how to control on top of the freaking powers that she doesn't know how to control. That seemed pointless to me. Like, great, okay, cool. She's gonna learn how to use the sling ring and make a portal to somewhere else on planet Earth. Sweet, freaking awesome. Like, and in future MCU movies, when she shows up, is she going to be able to use sorcery like Doctor Strange, or are they just going to drop that? Like, it seems
weird choice.
yeah, it's too much up in the air for it to make sense.
I have something that I like that I forgot, and then I'll get back onto what I didn't like.
Yeah.
I totally forgot to mention it when we're talking about the Illuminati. Did we notice? We all watched Loki, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we notice that how Reed came in? Did we notice it was a box portal that brought him in?
Yeah.
That was in blue. And that we
Yes.
know that Nathaniel Richards is eventually going to be Kang in the future in the comics, which also uses the same technology.
Yeah, he was using old
Okay.
Richards technology.
I noticed that. I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a box. I know what that is.
Yeah.
Also, last thing, and then I promise I'll shut up and we'll go to stuff we don't like. Did anyone else go like insane when you heard Baxter Foundation? I'm pretty sure I clutched Devin. I was like, did they say Baxter? She's like, yeah, shut up. What are you talking about? I was like, they said Baxter. I know what's coming. They said Baxter. And she's like, whoa. So when they're like revealing people, I was like, where is he? Where is he? I know he's coming. Where is he?
For me, it was less of that and more of a is it just going to be a nod, or are they going to actually do it? Like, and then when they revealed Reed Richards, I was like, like my roommate and our friend was like, dude, you said some adult language really loud, and there were children there. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It just happened.
I almost brought on Twizzlers to this podcast to eat while we were talking about Reed Richards. Sorry,
oh no,
that's terrible.
No, Brad.
Anyways, what we didn't like. Go ahead, Tim. I've talked for a lot.
I don't know. I didn't really think about this question. I don't have the document that you apparently said.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I'll add you to that.
You can go.
I guess.
Still thinking.
Okay, that's fine. Let me make sure I've sent this to you. Oh wow. I can
go ahead with.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So
prepared for this question.
A big thing that I like drove me crazy was at the end there. Just kill Wong. Like, if you're gonna throw him off the side of the mountain,
yes, that's what I said.
Him. Let him be dead, because that removed every stake that this entire movie built. The entire what's the runtime of this movie? 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Building up all these stakes of like anybody could die at any minute. We just saw like the entire Illuminati get brutally killed.
Oh, 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's really short.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it spent this entire 2-hour movie building up these stakes of like literally anybody can die at any moment. And then they just didn't kill Wong. Like it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, let it happen. Like, it would have sucked. People would have been mad, but it would have made the movie it would have taken it up a whole nother level, you know? Yeah. Because what did he do after he came back? He killed one of those behemoth things.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then the other ones look at him and they're like, well, let's kill him.
Yeah. And then Strange came in and saved the day. Like
specifically Zombie Strange?
Yeah, Zombie Strange came in and saved the day. Like, I was like, when he was thrown off, I remember my thought process was like, so we're just gonna kill Wong like that? Like, that definitely does him dirty. Like, this is the second time we've been made to think that Wong died when he actually didn't. The first time was in the first Doctor Strange movie, when Doctor Strange had to turn back time to bring him back to life. And then, technically the third time, because we didn't know if he got dusted in the snap. So the first time was in Doctor Strange. The second time was when Thanos snapped. And now the third time he gets thrown off. Like, I get that he has plot armor, but like, dude, let the guy die. Like, bring back stakes into this movie. I probably have stronger feelings about this than what I should, but like
Well,
now we literally have no reason to believe that Wanda's dead.
yeah.
Never believed
Well,
that.
and Wong just won't go away. He's already scheduled to be in She-Hulk. Like Wong is in
Yeah.
almost every
Yeah.
film in Phase 4. Like, chill out, guys. It's Wong.
Yeah.
The Wongverse.
Like, either throw him off the mountain and kill him, or don't throw him off the mountain. Like, it seems like an easy choice to make.
And
Like-
worse, he was only like 6 feet away from where he got thrown from. Although in the
Yeah.
shot, it looks he got flung out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it didn't make sense. And like he fell what? 20, 30 feet, and he
Maybe.
sits up and he's like, oh, that hurt. Like, piss off, man. Like,
Piss off, Ghost. Sorry.
like, piss off, Ghost. Let the dude die. I don't know. That was the biggest thing that rubbed me wrong in this movie. Everything else I really liked. If they had actually killed Wong, I would have. It would have taken the movie up a step for me. But
Do you want to know what I hate about this movie from a technical standpoint?
huh,
The
What's that?
third eye looks like a Snapchat filter.
dude, it
Yeah.
looked awful. It so bad. It looked a little bit better on Dark Strange, but I think that largely had to do with like color grading and like it was in a darker scene. But man, in that post-credit scene, it looked like trash.
Yeah.
It looked like the annoying orange.
Yes, I saw that on Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, I hate that this is so true."
Tim, do you need more time with what you didn't like, or do you want me to go ahead and go?
Yeah, you can go ahead. That was something I legitimately didn't like.
Okay. I'm gonna give the one biggest thing I hated about this movie was wrapping up Wanda's story. I'm sorry, but this woman went on a rampage, destroyed multiple people in the universe, sees her kids scared of her, and goes, "Oh, I guess I'll die now." Brings down a whole mountain on her. Kidding me? Like, you're telling me she wouldn't be like, "Well, I'm just gonna go to another dimension, or I'm gonna destroy the Darkhold and then leave." Well, she destroys the Darkhold in every dimension. Cool, sick. Which means she would have had to be alive to do that. First of all, but second
Well,
of
she
all,
did that before the mountain collapsed.
I'm big sad. Bye. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was like, you gave her such a powerful like character arc through so many films. You brought her to this just to have her be sad and weepy and die. Really? Like, I feel like she deserved better than that.
I was
if you're
not
gonna-
thrilled about that.
Yes, like if what you said with Wong, it's the same thing. Give us the travesty of her realizing she's right to be accidentally killed, or like something. Like, don't just give me the whole "I'm sad, I'm gonna die now." Also, the cringe of America versus Scarlet Witch. Like, oh my god, what are we, 5? Like,
Yeah.
who wrote this? Come on, damn Raimi, do better. But then again, he also cast Bruce Campbell as Pizza Papa. So, I mean, what do you expect? Although I mean, Pizza Papa was one of my favorite
movie. He has to be in it, right?
Uh,
The second post-credit scene, it's over. Yeah,
It's
thanks.
a intense
Piss
punch
off, mate.
put on him too. What was it?
What?
Hitting himself?
yes,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
My
And then
second big
being
issue with this, it was so rushed.
Wait,
Like,
sorry.
huh?
What did you? I cut out there for a second. I hear what you said.
Oh, that's okay. My second thing I didn't like, it was too rushed. Like, there were just not enough character development, not enough. Even with the Illuminati's there, and then like maybe 5 minutes later they're dead.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know, it's funny that you say that because I felt like the movie could have been just a little shorter.
I agree. I agree with that. No, I mean, like, just their like beats were very rushed. Like, it felt like we
Okay.
had to get
Yeah.
to, like, this redemption arc for Wanda. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I understand where you're going, but like extend some of these scenes out. What is the Illuminati? What are these people? Like, most people won't read the comics. Most of them are not the three of us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we know the comics, but most people don't. They're like, who's the Illuminati? Why are they
Illuminati?
And they give you like 2 seconds of fan service, and they're like, oh, let's kill Black Bolt. That's cool. Even though how he died was terrifying, and I loved it.
Gnarly as hell.
No, all of those deaths were great. I think my favorite has to be Charles, because I thought, oh, if anybody's going to stop her, it's going to be Professor X.
Yeah.
Nope. But that would be my complaint. It was too rushed. We could have had more stretching of the relationship between Strange and Christine. I would have liked to have seen a better attachment between Strange and America Chavez. It just felt like, oh, we have to get through the sad mommy issues to move back on to Doctor Strange. It's all about Doctor Strange. I'm like, okay, well, but America Chavez is really important to this story, but it just felt rushed. So that would be my biggest complaint. But again, when you are trying to tackle a whole multiversal movie, that's going to happen. You're going to try to cover too much.
Man, I would have... Oh, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it's not so much the length of the movie as much as how much content they tried to put into it. And
it felt like No Way Home a little bit.
A single movie, you're not going to be able to explain everything to the extent that you should for audiences who aren't necessarily familiar with the comics.
Yeah. I would have loved to see was how the trailers led us to believe towards the beginning is we were going to see all these Stranges interact with each other and fight with each other. Like, because we know it's possible. We've seen it in Loki. Like, and that kind of goes back to your point of they undid a lot of what they made canon, I guess, in Loki. I would have loved to see like Defender Strange and 616 Strange come together and fight Wanda.
They did.
Technically, but like alive.
Yeah.
Defender Strange, you know. I mean, and like again, but also to that credit is like in the opening segments of the movie, like it established the groundwork of literally anybody can die at any moment.
Yeah.
Like only to be undone with Wong. It's just for every great thing about this movie, I feel like there were two really annoying nitpicky things about it.
Yes. Which is why I have one more and then I'm off my soapbox of smacking the movie. This one's more of a fan, like just being a Marvel Comics fan thing. We've gotten so many like allusions to Mephisto and he's going to show up. This was the first time we got really close. We showed the fiery dimension. We showed hell when they were going through. We had demons. Strange literally took control of demons. But we're not going to talk about Mephisto or anything else. Yeah. They're just going to say, oh, your time's up, Strange. You're not supposed to do this. And then he's just like magically, I can control you guys now. Like,
right. Also,
Mephisto would have had a problem with that or anything. Like,
going back to terrible dialogue, the whole go to hell thing. I was like, really? Like the go to hell thing, and then there was one other one that I was just the Illumawati. I was like those were three moments that just like kind of took me out of it because I was like, come on, guys.
It was the attempt to have that Ragnarok level humor, kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff that just didn't fly with Sam Raimi's horror aspect of this whole thing. Yeah.
And the ice cream song.
Thank you. I was about to say, why didn't we talk about that yet?
Oh, yeah.
It was so bad.
There's so many memes.
Like, no 12-year-olds are doing that.
No, not at all. It was so bad.
It was so cringy. I remember just going, ugh.
Yeah. My roommate and our friend and I all turned to each other and we were like, just thumbs down. Like, that was bad.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that one was pretty tough.
it was rough.
That brings us back around to Tim. Do you have anything that you hated here?
Can I go with one that is, again, it's not necessarily about the movie itself?
Sure.
Yeah.
I just want to rant about Marvel Cinematic Universe fans and all of the like endless fan theories they put out before every movie, because I feel like something that really hindered this movie was that people had expectations that were just way too high of all the stuff that was going to show up in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of this, thing people saying like they were disappointed by this movie is because like you were expecting something that was never going to happen.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. I've actually, leading up to big Marvel movies like No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, I will like be completely off of Facebook because I've gotten pretty good actually at like avoiding all spoilers of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So like I will be completely off of Facebook for like the week leading up to it. And then on Twitter, I will go and I will mute every word, every hashtag, everything that I can think of for the week
Yeah.
leading up to it. Just to kind of, and like as a byproduct, it kind of negates or like dials back my expectations of the movie, so that like I'm not expecting all these big over the top like Mephisto sightings or Mephisto reveals.
Yeah.
Eric Voss. Like
Eric Voss.
Yeah. And be disappointed when I don't see it happen,
Yeah.
And I'd be better about is not, catching or like not paying attention to any of those leaks or anything. Because like it was ruined for me a week before the movie came out that John Krasinski was going to be Reed Richards.
Oh,
dude, I was totally caught off guard by that. Like,
same.
I mean, I say caught off guard. I was hoping because like I was in that group of people that were like, we want John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Same.
But like I had no idea. I had no idea that he was going to be in it. I had no idea that it was that Reed Richards was going to be in the movie. Yeah. Did you see his tweet like leading up to it? John Krasinski tweeted, he's like, all right, finally just wrapped filming for some other project, heading home, going straight to the movies. What should I see? And somebody tweeted back to him, was like, the new Doctor Strange movie. And he replied, fantastic. Which I was like, that's incredible. That's great.
I'll be honest. I'm going to piggyback off of what both you said. Before No Way Home, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably my favorite hero, like, period. Thank you, MCU, for casting Tom Holland. He is a delight. I did that. I watched too many fan things, and then I watched it and I was like, this is good. Just not what I thought was going to happen. Versus Multiverse of Madness, I stayed away from everything. I was like, you know what? I just want to go in and enjoy it. And I loved it so much better because I didn't have those, like, 10-story high expectations of, like, this is going to blow every movie out of the water. And honestly, the problem is Endgame and them building movies after Endgame and realizing that they have to subvert expectations for every movie now because Endgame was the climax of years of story work and movies and building. And now you got to start over again because that was it. That was the Infinity Saga. There it is. Now we're starting something else. And I think people are just like, I need that next Endgame. Well, congratulations. That's probably not happening for another like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. I think it's less fans are crazy and more just like we want more in-game experiences. So I get it. But yeah, staying away from everything. Loved it this go around. Had no expectations. Was fantastically blown away.
Dude, I have a friend who like won't even watch trailers for Marvel movies.
Yeah, I don't blame him. It gives away a lot.
I want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I want to do it, but like, the trailers get me so pumped for the movies. Like,
I'll go on.
I want to have.
times. Then I'll watch people reacting to the trailer. Then I'll watch break.
Yeah, absolutely. That's literally like I watched the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer last night, and then I watched somebody reacting to the Thor: Love and trailer,
Yep.
Eric Voss, and then I watched the trailer again, and then I've watched the trailer probably 3 or 4 times since it came out.
I've watched it 5 times, and I keep slowing down every time Gore comes on. I'm like, okay, now he's coming out of something that has like black tendrils. Is that going to be the symbiote homeworld? Is he going to be the next Null? Is he going to, you know? And I'm just like slowly like going through. It's like, oh, he has the yellow eyes. Does he get the tentacles? No, probably not. They're only going to go with practical effects. What else are they going to change? Oh, the sword looks stupid. Like, you know what I mean? You just go through and you're like,
Can we talk about the giant R.I.P. Loki tattoo that Thor has on his back?
So at first, I thought that was like just shadows on his back.
So did I.
But like I did the whole zoom and enhance thing, and it looks like a Rip Loki tattoo with his helmet.
He has his helmet.
I'll text it to you, Brad.
I love that. I love it. Hey, before we get down to grading, Carter brought this up to me. We're going to take a couple minutes to talk about it. What is your speaking of Marvel projects that are coming up? Fantastic Four. If you didn't know, they laid the groundwork for that in Multiverse of Madness with Reed Richards showing up. If you haven't caught on to that now, what is your perfect casting for the Fantastic Four movie? I'm only asking for the members of the Fantastic Four. I don't even know who I want to play Doom. Although I guess I'm going to come up with that. If you have one, I'll come up with one, but I didn't have one off the top of my head.
I hadn't even thought of Doom, to be honest. I just thought of the first family, honestly.
It does say Rip Loki. That's awesome.
Honestly, I'm still on the John Krasinski, Emily Blunt. I think it's great casting. I hope, we've already seen the same actor playing several variants throughout universes. I'd love to see John Krasinski come back and direct because John Watts dropped out. So
that was sad.
So I guess I'll start with Sue Storm then. Like, obviously my number one pick was Emily Blunt. I think that's a shoe-in. I think it's they have obviously incredible chemistry being Defender Tim. I think that they have incredible chemistry already. We've seen it in A Quiet Place. They're obviously married, so it's easy to play a married couple. Like,
I'll have to take some Valium here in a minute. Oh my God.
I think Emily Blunt is the obvious choice first in. Yeah. My second choice was Adrienne Palicki. She played in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Bobby.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think that she has pretty good acting chops. I would like to see her. I personally haven't seen her anything in anything in a movie. I've only seen her in TV shows.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how she measures
translates.
up. Yeah. To more silver screen as opposed to the small screen.
So let's do it this way. Let's just do each character and then come back around.
Okay.
So Tim, you said Emily Blunt. Carter, you said Emily Blunt, and the chick from S.H.I.E.L.D., whose actor name I can't think of.
Adrienne Palicki, and I might be saying that last name wrong. My third choice was Jennifer Lawrence. I think that she'd be a great option. It might be questionable or difficult with the age difference between her and John Krasinski. I don't know, but I think she's proven that she has the acting chops that she could hold up in it.
Yeah. So since we're talking about the Invisible Woman, I had to think of somebody that's spunky, can kind of play serious, and just I had to think of short too, because I remember Sue is short in the comics.
Yeah.
So my brain immediately went to Kristen Bell. And I just like that because obviously I don't think any of us wants anyone other than John Krasinski to be Reed. That's where I'm at. And I was like, it'd kind of be cool to see Reed and Kristen Bell together. because they're two very dynamic actors for different reasons, and that's kind of the beautiful dynamic in the Fantastic Four comics is that they're just very different people.
I should say, all my fan casting is assuming that John Krasinski is playing Reed Richards.
Agreed. Yep, I picked around Krasinski. That's how I started. I picked Krasinski and then picked around him.
Yeah.
So then that would take us to. Do you want to do Ben or Johnny first?
I don't care.
Go for it. Your pick.
We'll keep it with the Storms. We'll go Johnny Storm.
Sweet.
So my first choice is actually Zac Efron. I think that he would be great. I think he has the build for Johnny Storm. I think he has the wit for it. I mean, he has good comedic timing. We've seen it in Neighbors. We've seen his serious acting in Greatest Showman and different things. Like, I think he has the chops to pull off Johnny Storm. My second choice is Dacre Montgomery, Billy from Stranger Things. I think that he would be a good shoe-in. I think I would be interested to see how he would step into the role of a superhero as opposed to kind of like the bad guy.
Hopefully that sans mullet.
Yeah, sans mullet for sure. Joe Keery was my third choice. Also Stranger Things, Steve from Stranger Things.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think he would be honestly fantastic casting for Johnny Storm. I have two honorable mentions for this. Daniel Radcliffe and Chris Pine. I think Daniel Radcliffe would be a more off the wall choice. I think that it would really stretch him in his
Lumos fire.
Yeah. Lumos Maxima. I think that it would really stretch him in his acting chops from what we've seen, because we've seen him in obviously Harry Potter when that's I think what we've all grown up seeing him in, and we've seen him in more of the indie films, thinking like
Guns
Swiss
Akimbo.
Army Man. That other I didn't see the one where he has like the guns attached to his hands.
Guns Akimbo, I like that movie.
Yeah. He was in Horns.
He was just recently in The Lost City.
Yep, that's a good movie.
I haven't seen it, but he seems to be good in that. And then Chris Pine. I mean, Chris Pine is Chris Pine. I think that he could do just about anything. The hard part would be again the age difference.
Yeah.
With being he's supposed to be a sibling to Sue Storm. But yeah, those are my two honorable mentions for that.
Chris
role.
Pine, beam me up, Scotty. Flames.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I had Zac Efron too. I think he'd be a great.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys. It's like you're kind of like it's only a matter of time until he ends up playing somebody in the MCU. And
right.
I think he's just a good fit for the character.
We're all three gonna agree, but I had a tie. The first is obviously Zac Efron, but if they can't get Zac Efron, I would like to see the star of the Kingsman series, Taron Egerton. I would kind of like to see that. He has that like, cool kind of customer, like I'm the hottest thing on earth kind of charisma about him, and that's perfect for Johnny Storm. Granted, he's a little short. And I don't know how he feels about superhero movies outside of like the James Bond-esque kind of Kingsman films.
Yeah.
But again, he would be one of those like a shot in the dark kind of guys. But Zac Efron, really, like if you really want to get into the MCU, man, start like throwing money at Marvel, get in conversations with John Krasinski. I'd like to see it. I really would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I guess that leaves one more.
Yeah, Ben Grimm. So I'll start with my least my one that I don't think would get it, but Dean Norris. He was in Breaking Bad. He was
Okay.
the
He was
A of
here.
yeah. And I think he would be really good in it as Ben Grimm. I think he has the voice and the chops for it. But again, I think it's that age. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think the age thing would be that much of an issue with this either, because I mean, he's 59. John Krasinski is what, 43? So
Yeah.
like,
And in the comics, Ben was always older.
yeah. So like, I think it could work. I think that, and then also, honestly, if we're getting a origin story with them, then he would only need to do like be on screen for the first part of the movie, and then it's all voice acting, right?
Yeah.
So I think he definitely has the voice for Ben Grimm. My next choice, Jesse Plemons. I don't really know much about him. I had to look him up. I was seeing a lot of people online say him. He was in The Irishman. He was in Game Night.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were going with the aesthetic look with him, saying that he could play Ben Grimm. And like, I can see it. I don't know a whole lot about his acting chops to be able to say whether or not I think he'd be a good Ben Grimm. But again, like, that's the thing. Like, it's the exact opposite from Christian Bale in Love and Thunder. He has to be all CGI, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's really no good way to do a practical thing.
I mean, it's the same thing they do with Hulk.
Yeah.
My number one pick would be, and I think I'm going to butcher his name, Liev Schreiber. He played Sabretooth in X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great Ben. Again, I think he really has the voice for it, the gruffy, rough voice, gravelly voice. And I think he has shown his acting chops to be able to do it. And he's no stranger to superhero movies. So
Yeah. I like it. I think your first pick was my favorite, that's for sure.
Dean Norris.
Yeah, Dean Norris
No.
was good.
Oh,
I was gonna say leave Schreiber.
Schreiber. Yeah,
All I can think
that's
is
how you say his
Sabretooth.
name.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I don't know. Like, I don't think that it would happen, but man, I would love to see Dean Norris in that role. I think he would do great.
Dean Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen Breaking Bad?
Bits and pieces. Oh, but I know. Okay. I know who this is.
Yeah. He's great for Ben Grimm if they could get him to do it.
For sure. I wouldn't really mind if Michael Chiklis came back either. I liked him in the originals.
Yeah, I was seeing people online say that. I think it'd be hard, right? Because like, we've set the precedent for kind of going back to the Patrick Stewart thing. Like, we've set the precedent for the same actor playing a character through different multiverses. We've also set in Loki the precedent for different actors playing the same character through multiverses.
Correct.
So, like, is that to assume that, like, if he comes back as the Thing, then there's a Chris Evans out there as the Human Torch?
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I don't think a lot of people would think that much into it, put that much thought into it. But it's definitely something to think about. Like, is that something that would be like reasoned away in the story, or would we just kind of like ignore it and brush it under the rug?
Probably just brush it under the rug, truthfully, because Loki has kind of screwed everything up in terms of what Loki looks like through different dimensions.
Sure.
It would be kind of funny to have some sort of like Secret Wars scenario where Chris Evans like meet
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
in America together.
that would be incredible.
Yeah, I'd like that. Tim, do you have a recommendation for Ben Grimm, The Thing?
Dean Norris was honestly my top. I had kind of been I was reading a few online and I saw Sam Worthington's name thrown around a few times, which I thought, would be an interesting choice. Not my favorite, but I could see it.
Oh, I could see it.
Yeah.
I had to look him up.
Yeah.
Isn't he from Avatar?
Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. He'd be a bit younger.
Yeah, which would be beneficial for them if they do more with him.
Yeah.
He's like the great values leave, right?
Kind of. So my first choice for The Thing is Sam Elliott. I'm kidding. It'd be funny though.
Nick Offerman.
He has to have a rocky mustache though. That would really sell it. Mine is going to be interesting because this actor is already in the MCU, but I think his character is small enough, and based on the things I've seen him in, they're flexible enough that he can look differently in different things. I got to be honest, I love David Harbour, and I really think David Harbour is. If you guys haven't seen Hellboy, he is that perfect gruff, nasty kind of like person, and more so in voice. Like part of what sells me in Hellboy is the voice, and that's 90% of what he's going to do is the thing. So again, what you were talking about with like Chris Evans, can they get away with it? Because I guarantee Red Guardian is never coming back. That man is toast. He's gone.
Yeah.
So if they would do it, I mean, he'd be perfect for it.
Man, I
don't know.
Kind of going off the Hellboy thing, I had like a fleeting thought of Ron Perlman as the thing.
Yeah. Yep.
But like I was like, dude, the man is way too old to be playing Ben Grimm and make any sort of sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
True. But yeah, I mean,
this is my grandpa Ben.
Yeah.
Sir Ian McKellen as the Thing.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I think David Harbour would be a good cast for it. But man, like, I don't know. Like, they would have to change him a lot visually because he was so obviously David Harbour in Black Widow as... Yeah.
Certain actors, you can kind of like, pass them off as a secondary character in the same universe, and you wouldn't recognize them. But David Harbour is too well known for that.
Yeah, if it had been pre Stranger Things, they may have been able to get away with it. But I think Stranger Things just made him too well known, and like just everybody knows his face too well at this point.
Or they could pull a Darth Vader where James Earl Jones was not the body, but he was the voice. If they could find somebody just to be a body for the first half, David Harbour could do the voice, which would be incredible.
Just find an actor.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the thing that works so well with Darth Vader and doing that was there was a narrative, like, there's a reason narratively as to why his voice changed.
Yeah.
There would be like no, like if Leif Schreiber came in and was doing the body for Ben Grimm at the beginning, there would be no narrative like reasoning for all of a sudden his voice changed to David
His
Harbour.
vocal cords are now gravel. That's why.
Oh, shut up! Like, but I say that, but that's the sort of thing that the MCU would try and pull and be like,
absolutely,
it works.
Vocal cords be rock now. It go.
He
They would
would
do
sound
it.
different.
So we've had a good conversation, but we haven't graded him yet. This is always the telling point of every movie. Carter, you are our newest guest. Would you like to go first?
Yeah. I mean, end of the day, with everything that I was annoyed about with this movie, I still largely feel like the good outweighed the bad. So end of the day, I walked out of the theater giving this movie a solid 7 out of 10. So I think that it's a really good a really good shoehorn into the MCU. I don't know that it's something that I would pay to see multiple times. It's definitely something I would own and like return to periodically. But it's not something like man, I know like Black Panther gets heat and people hate on it, but like that's my go-to Marvel movie. Like I love going back, just like going back and rewatching Black Panther. So I don't know if Multiverse of Madness would be something that I would go back and rewatch multiple times like I do with Black Panther. But yeah, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I like that. Tim, you're up.
Yeah, I didn't go much, too far off of him. It was by no means my favorite Marvel movie, but not, it's still probably the top half of my list. I would probably put this about. I like this about as much as I liked Spider-Man: Homecoming. I put it at a 7.5. There was a lot in this movie that felt rushed and kind of felt shoehorned in, but I really like when Marvel movies feel different than other Marvel movies. And they definitely went with the horror aspects in this and sort of some of Sam Raimi's style. This did not feel like your typical Marvel movie, which I always kind of like when they change things up and try new things. So that bumps the score up a little bit for me. So I gave it a 7.5.
Understandable. So you both had the Ruby Slippers Award. I'm going to echo the same thoughts. It is in my top half of films. It would probably be like right outside the like top 8 for me. Just because I love Sam Raimi, I'm going to give it an 8.1. Because I walked out of the theaters like, wow, like, okay, when's the next movie coming out? Like, this wasn't like one of those movies like we'll watch Dark World, where I'll leave and be like, oh,
Black Widow,
underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like especially for Marvel movies, now that they seem to have gotten it figured out, like even like their tough films are still good. So I'll give it an 8.1. I'll be the Sam Raimi lover here, which will give it the one ring. So I love it. I'd own it. I should own it if I don't, which I will when it comes out, of course. Like I did with No Way Home, I have it on Blu-ray. Did I need to do that? No, but I did anyways. So yeah, fantastic movie. Is it the best of all time? Probably not. Is it the best Marvel movie of all time? Also probably not. But hey, it was a good chapter. Yeah. Let's hit some quick trivia and then we will skedaddle. Carter, I know you have some first. I only have like 4, so have at it.
Yeah, I've got 3. Let me pull them up. My laptop died, so I'm having to do this off my phone. This was actually, so fun fact, this was actually the 5th MCU movie in a row that was denied release in China for one reason or the other. Yeah. The other ones are Black Widow, released in 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 2021, Eternals, 2021, and Spider-Man No Way Home, also in 2021. Which I know the reason for Multiverse of Madness being denied release. I can kind of infer the reasons for some of these other ones. But like I'm kind of surprised that like Eternals was denied a release in China. I didn't realize that. And Shang-Chi also was denied release in China. I didn't realize either one of those. Yeah, so it was interesting.
The reason for Eternals once, but I cannot think of what it was.
It wasn't the sex scene, was it? Like,
I don't think.
It seems like a bizarre reason. I mean,
it was like the portrayal of something, but I can't remember what.
Oh, Kit Harington was so beautiful that they couldn't show him to the public. Yeah, sorry.
That's it. Yeah, nailed it in one.
Yeah. What else did you have?
Yeah. So I had, as I mentioned earlier, I felt like it could have been shorter. Evidently, there was almost 40 minutes of additional scenes left on the cutting room floor for this movie. So there is somewhere out there in the ether an extra 40 minutes to this movie. So I'm really interested. Like, I'm curious as to what aspects those 40 minutes explored. If it gave more character development to the Eternals, if it extended that fight scene. I'm really curious. I don't think that we will get them in deleted scenes, unfortunately. Like Spider-Man, I think they'll probably be released without deleted scenes. Yeah. And then my final fun fact was America Chavez was actually originally slated to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. And because of COVID and rearranging the order in which these movies came out, because originally this Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out before No Way Home. So they flipped it. So I guess originally she wasn't even supposed to be in this movie, which is weird to me.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Flip that. She was originally supposed to be in No Way Home, so she was supposed to we would have already known, or that would have been her debut, and we would have already known who she was in this movie.
That makes sense.
But yeah,
I think you're saying if the movies were reversed, we would have been introduced to America Chavez. She would have returned for her second in No Way Home.
Yeah. No. We would have been introduced to her in no, yes, you're correct. Sorry. You're absolutely right. We would have been introduced to her in this film. She would have returned in No Way Home.
No Way Home. That makes sense.
Be part of the reason why we didn't get deleted scenes in No Way Home and on the Blu-ray release, because if they would have introduced America Chavez and deleted scenes, people would have lost their minds. But like, what is happening?
Yeah. They should have just thrown those extra 40 minutes in there. Look, I watched the entirety of the Batman without taking a bathroom break. I can watch those long films. Like, it's fine.
I mean, I did that twice. So you're nothing special, Brad. No.
Okay.
I agree, but like, man, I don't know. 3 hours is just a really long time. 2 hours and 45 minutes is a really long time. I know Endgame was 3 hours, but again, that was the culmination of 10 years of movies. So it kind of warranted and lended to itself to being a 3 hour long movie, where this movie is still what, movie 2, 3? Yeah. 3 in phase 4. I don't think that there is because Shang-Chi, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Eternals.
Yeah. I knew there was one more. I'm like,
so this is movie 4, in phase 4. So like I don't think that there's enough there to lend it to being a 3-hour movie.
True, but 3 hours of BDSM Robert Pattinson versus like we could have gotten more Multiverse of Madness.
Dude,
Like,
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're apples and oranges, right? Because like one is an MCU movie that is like supposed to be lending towards a younger audience, and one is a Batman movie that's like emo, dark, brooding, hardcore. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to compare those two.
no,
I'm
I
curious
agree.
to see what will, if there is deleted scenes, because I know there were some set photos leaked or production leaks that very much looked like Tom Cruise as a variant of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Which here in the final, there were some photos that came out that looked.
I don't know, man. I saw Sam Raimi or somebody in an interview say like Tom Cruise was never even approached for the movie.
Yeah, I don't.
Which I mean could just be a red herring. Like,
and there's there's also a lot of speculation from when Strange went into the Illuminati. There was an empty seat.
Yes.
Up on the council.
So yeah, I mean, I could go down a really long rabbit hole with that, and long story short, I think it was for either Namor or Black Panther. One of those two.
Yep.
Obviously, Black Panther, we know from the comics, turned down his seat on the Illuminati.
Speaking of which, did we see the Namor photos? It's very blurry, but they look really great.
I have not seen it.
You should see them. I think I have it saved somewhere. I've got 2 more pieces of trivia, and then we're going to wrap up. So Sam Raimi, it's funny that he came to direct Doctor Strange because he's already referenced Doctor Strange twice in the Spider-Man trilogy. Joe's Pizza, where Peter Parker is working at the beginning of Spider-Man 2, is actually on Bleecker Street, which is where the Sanctum Sanctorum is. And the second one is the more funny line. When J. Jonah Jameson is trying to come up with names for Dr. Octavius, the weirdo guy brings up Doctor Strange and he goes, but it's taken. So 2 references to Doctor Strange. I was like, that's fun that he's kind of come back and been able to work on it. The other one,
he kind of came full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
The second one and the last one that I have, Danny Elfman actually did the music for this film. It is his second MCU film. The first one was Age of Ultron, which we talked about, and it's kind of sad because that movie flopped. But I like Danny Elfman. He does really good work. And honestly, he made Wanda even more terrifying because of the music that was behind Wanda all the time.
100% agree.
Good on Elfman and Raimi to work together again. That was nice.
Yeah, I think the movie or the music is a large part of what made this movie so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up another episode of Smash Popcorn. Thank you both for coming on and making this really fun. Now I know that we need to do more Marvel movies together. That's on the slate at some point this summer. We're just kind of flipping a coin to see which one that is. Most likely the next one will be Thor Love and Thunder. Love to have you both back for that since we've kind of already prefaced that anyways.
Should just watch it.
Do what?
Should just do a whole rewatch, chronological order.
Oh, God. We'll 28 movies. Listen, I'm down if you are. Let's do it.
We're in the midst of Lord of the Rings. Once we're done with Lord of the Rings, let's talk about it.
Fair.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you next week.
Right on.